guys, welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we'll take a look at some new I Don't Work Here Lady content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
The first story is titled "A Cam Girl Thought I Was Calling for Phone Sex." This will be a stretch fit for this sub, but it's a good story. I used to be a service consultant at a Mercedes-Benz dealership. A guy in his 20s just bought an older car and comes in for the first time, so I help him out. I get all his info and create a new customer profile in our database. This takes about 5-10 minutes, so I usually casually talk to the customer during the process. I notice he looks tired as hell, so I ask him if he worked third shift or something, since it was about 8:00 a.m. He mentions he's been up all night as a bodyguard for his wife. He hands me a camouflage business card with her cam girl name and web address all over it. He casually mentions if you ever get feeling a little lonely, give her a look online. She does Skype shows, phone calls, and other stuff too. I put the card on my desk, he signs the repair order, and I verify the phone number I'll need to call later that day to get approval for repairs. A few hours later, after the technician has diagnosed the car's problem, I call the number and a woman answers. We'll refer to her as Cam Girl, CG. Me? Hey there, it's Mazalafa Laptop Killer from Mercedes. CG in a quiet, bedroomy voice. Did you send the picture? Me? I'm sorry, I'm not sure what you mean. CG, you're supposed to send me a picture of yourself before we start playing, then maybe we'll meet up. Me? I apologize again, but I don't know what you're talking about. I started to wonder if I dialed the wrong number. Right here, I realize this is the wife and she thinks I'm trying to party. Me? This is Mazalafa Laptop Killer from the Mercedes-Benz dealership. I'm calling about your Mercedes-Benz. Your car needs serviced, not me. CG voice changes instantly and she starts talking normally. Oh, so what's going on with the car? After the call, I took the business card and ran back to the shop to tell all the techs what happened. The next story is titled "Assaulted Even Though I Don't Work There." English is my first language, but my grammar is not all that good. This has nothing to do with my entitled aunt many of you have read my posts about. This is my encounter with an entitled crazy woman that thinks the world should always bow to her wishes. A little background: I'm single, having never remarried after my wife passed away from a sudden and deadly illness. And since the pandemic hit, my grandmother, who's in her 90s, and my cousin and her mother have been living with me. Never had any problems with them, and they do help around the house as they can and even pitch in on the bills from time to time, which I love about them. My cousin is a special needs boy and has a compromised immune system, as well as my grandma, being old, does not have as strong an immune system as she used to. As such, when I do have to go out, I take the precaution of taking a shower when I come home and put on a fresh set of clothing, taking care to not expose them to the worn set before I wash them, necessary in my view with the pandemic going on. Normally, I would order in whatever we need, but at the time this happened I could not. Something to do with their system going buggy or something. With that, let's get on with the story. This happened a little earlier today, and I'm still fuming over it. Yes, I did press charges. Earlier today, I decided to go shopping even though some members of my household are higher risk for the pandemic going on, but we still needed food and a few things for a special diet one of them had to eat. Into the store once I got there, grabbed a cart and began to shop. I had been shopping for about 20 minutes when I heard someone snapping their fingers. I ignored it because I didn't work there and was wearing jeans and a black shirt with insane clown posse on it. No way anyone could mistake me for an employee, or so I thought. Next thing I knew was someone yell in my ear, "Are you going to help me or not?" I jumped, exclaiming loudly with a duck. When I got turned around, there was a Karen, short-haired, in clothes one size too small for her, large and with a sour look on her face. She shouted again, "Help me now or I'm getting you fired." I told her just as loudly, "Idontworkherelady. Now duck off and go bother an actual employee." She stepped back, mouth agape like she had never been shouted back at in her entire life, and wound up to slap me. I blocked her swing and said, "That's one." She tried to slap me again and I blocked it. "That's two. One more and I slap you back, Karen." She screamed, "I am getting you fired," and stomped off. I yelled, "Don T, let the doorknob hit you in your butt on the way out, Karen." As she left, I saw her shoulders jerk as if she had gotten hit in the back and kept going. I continued with my shopping, albeit angrily. I was done with people at the moment and wanted to finish and get back home. An employee approached me and asked what all the yelling was about, so I told her everything. I could tell she was smirking when I told her what I said as the crazy woman stomped off. So we chatted as I shopped, and the employee's words were helping considerably to calm me down when we heard that nasty voice again. That's him. The one who wouldn't help me and threatened me when I asked for his help. I want him fired right now. The manager looked confused. Ma'am, he doesn't work here. I cannot fire customers. Yes, he does, she yelled at him. Fire him right now or I'm filing a complaint with corporate. You're certainly welcome to do that, ma'am, but he does not work here. She lost her crap then, her face went purple and charged at me and managed to slap me this time. I normally am opposed to hitting women, but out of pure defensive instinct, I slapped her back hard enough to spin her around and knock her down. By this time, store security had arrived and restrained me, thinking I was the one to instigate the incident. The crazy woman got up off the floor and started screaming assault and demanding the police be called. In the meantime, she tried several more times to get to me and slapped me again and wound up being restrained herself. During this, the employee had been speaking to the manager over her yelling and told him what had actually happened and had heard her demands 2 aisles away and came to investigate. Apparently, she had managed to come into the aisle in time to see her try to slap me a second time and my warning to her. When the police arrived, she went off on a profanity-laced rant demanding I be fired and arrested, and that she was going to be able to live off the suit she intended to file. The police walked me a few feet away while she ranted and raved and asked me what happened, so I told them and that the footage from the security cameras would provide proof of my side of the incident. So while one listened to her side of the story, one went and checked the recordings. They came back. One took out his cuffs while the crazy woman looked smug and said some rude things, but was shot when the officer told her to turn around and to not resist. They had to literally drag her out of the store kicking and screaming, all the way threatening to have their jobs and screaming how she was the victim here and more I cannot put here because of the language. I was asked a few minutes later by one of the officers if I would like to press charges, since from viewing the recordings it was obvious I was defending myself and did not use excessive force. Of course, I said yes. I also found out later she has harassed other shoppers before but had never assaulted anyone before. So, she's sitting in jail having not been able to bail out and her own family. A few who have contacted me and profusely apologized for her actions, which I told them not to worry about it. They're not being held to blame for her actions. And none of them are willing to pay her bail so she can get out and start her shenanigans again. I suspect there is more to it than that. But I do know she has been banned from the store now after that for life. I will update as more information becomes available that I can post. This may be used in a video. The next story is titled, I'm Not a Client Here, Lady. This happened over 10 years ago, but reading all these stories made me remember this horrific experience. It's not exactly retail, but I think it's worth telling. As a high schooler, my school made you do a work-study day. Super mandatory. I thought I could do a work-study at the job I already had, vet's office, but found out the day before that that wasn't allowed. Luckily, my dad was able to get me into a shadowing position at some branch of his company. I show up and am put into the care of Veronica, the program director. I'm supposed to shadow her working for the Adult Community Outreach Program, Homeless Services, Healthcare Services, Mental Health Services, the works. Veronica is immediately very irritated. She has to babysit me. Tells me to go clean the bathroom and shower, no, and they are used by the shelter residents, so double no. Leaves me with a questionably safe male client in the lobby. Mostly wanted to talk about the Order of the Black Sun, thankfully. Insults my intelligence, makes me sit in on a caseworker's counseling session with a client, where I get to hear the riveting story of how he jumped a fence and broke his penis, and I was basically treated like garbage the entire time. I couldn't figure out why until I asked her to sign my form saying I put up with all this crap. V, sure. Take it back to school for your little skills program. I don't know why you kids in youth program name, shadowed here, you're all on drugs. Oh crap. She thinks I'm shadowing here as a client of the youth version of this program. As I stand there, dumbfounded, holding my form and pencil out, she glances out the office window as a car pulls up. V, oh great, why is he here? Me? Who? V. Sean, the CEO. He's always on my ass about something or another. Sean is my dad. I let her drone on and insult my dad alongside all of their youth clients who I'm feeling really ducking sorry for. And I wait until my dad walks past reception and is walking towards her office. Me, "Hi, Dad." I run up and give him a hug. "Dad, hi, kiddo." I turn around to face Veronica with the biggest crap, eating grin on my face, and watch her go ghost white. "Dad, did you have fun today?" Me, "Uh-huh." My dad thanks Veronica for letting me shadow her, and we go to the car. I immediately go full tattletale mode like a ducking 4-year-old because holy crap, woman, the kids from the program are shadowing you because they want to choose a career path to help others like themselves. And you treat them like that. What the duck? Veronica works at a hotel now. The next story is titled "I Scream Bloody Murder in a Store to Get a Karen to Leave Me Alone." One day, I was shopping at the local Walmart and had my headphones in. These headphones are incredibly nice and a gift from my parents. I had just gotten off work and was in business casual khakis and a plain gray polo. No logo. Nothing to indicate that I worked at Walmart. I was looking in the freezer section for some ice cream for dessert that night when someone yanked my headphones off my head and they fall on the ground. Cue Karen starting to yell at me. "I have been trying to get your attention for 5 minutes. You shouldn't be listening to music while you work. How can you help customers if you can't even hear them?" She screeched at me. Now I am seeing red. If she damaged my headphones, there was going to be hell to pay. I lean down to pick up my headphones and I say to this crazy idiot, "Don't you ever ducking touch me, you crazy idiot. I don't ducking work here, you stupid duck. Touch me again and I will scream so loud the whole store will hear. Don't you talk to me like that. I'm a customer," she said as she grabbed my bicep to haul me to a manager like a child to be punished. So I let her have it. I screamed the loudest scream I could possibly imagine. I actually lost my voice for the next day because of it. It startled her so bad that she let me go and dropped her purse. Not even 20 seconds later, a manager comes running with a security guy. The manager demanded to be told what was going on. I told him this crazy idiot assaulted me. She tore my headphones off my head and grabbed me. I feared for my life, a complete embellishment, so I screamed. By now we have an audience, and the manager takes us both and separates us. Luckily for me, a very nice woman was a little farther down the aisle and saw the whole thing and told the security guy what happened and backed up my story. The manager asked if I wanted to press charges and I told him no. I just want my ice cream and to go home. He told me to take it. It was on him. As I was leaving, I saw the crazy idiot getting thrown out of Walmart by the security guy and being told to never set foot in the store again. The next story is titled "I Got Fired from a Hospital That I Don't Work For." So I just found out about this sub from someone who suggested I post my recent firing from the hospital I was admitted to. I had a rather crappy Memorial Day weekend. Long and rather boring story short, I had a seizure and face planted my bedroom door. After a fun ride to the hospital on backboard and neck brace, a whole bunch of tests followed, and I was admitted because, as it turns out, my autoimmune condition is quite being managed, as well as I thought it was. Fun times. After the first couple days, sleeping off the concussion and crappy medication side effects, I make it to the 3rd day and feel well enough to walk around, and even make a trip to the cafeteria downstairs to get something better than the standard hospital food. Now, I didn't really have much in the way of clothing. My wife brought my favorite hoodie and clean under things, but forgot pants of all things. So a really nice nurse scrounged up a pair of the hospital's blue scrub pants for me. So I was happily free of the Roman 4 cart for the next few hours and decided to get some chocolate milk and maybe a tasty snack to treat myself and lift my spirits a bit. But it ended up being a rather sad, frustrating affair before I could even make it onto the elevator. I'm pretty slow walking, but I'm just content to not be confined to bed or tangled in tubes, so I enjoy the sunlight and make friendly conversation with the day shift nurses as I pass by. Sometimes it's the small things that make me happy. But all that happiness goes away as I make it to the waiting area and elevator lobby when a 60-year-old woman with the sourest expression on her face steps off the elevator. Like sucked on a whole barrel of lemons type of sour, lips puckered up tighter than a cat's owl sour. So I try to give her a wide berth, but pucker face isn't having it. She marches straight up to me and gets well into my personal space and starts demanding that I take her to her son's room and give her an immediate rundown of his medical ailments. The exchange is as follows between me and Puckerface PK. PK, finally, one of you lazy bastards is going to take me to my son's hospital room and explain to me my baby boy's condition. I'm his mother after all, and that wife of his just hasn't been taking care of him like she should be. Me, thinking, the children's hospital is next door. What? PK, oh, don't play stupid. You're not pretty enough for that. I know my son's here, and I want to see him right this instant. His name is Poor Bastard, and I think he brought in on Friday. Me, really confused and feeling bad for Poor Bastard. I don't work here. PK, what do you mean you don't work here? You have on scrubs in a hospital. You're a nurse. Now take me to my son, idiot. Me, starting to get irritated and sassy. Dude, I'm not a nurse. Not everyone who wears scrubs is a nurse. I just didn't feel like going due to the cafeteria in a gown with my ass flapping in the wind. PK waves hands as if that's magically going to make me not being a nurse change in any way. You're just using that as an excuse to not get in trouble for sucking at your job and being a little a-hole. Me holds up wrist, including the lovely bright red allergy band. Yeah, no, I'm not a nurse, I'm a patient, and I really don't have to be explaining this to you. Go find someone else who can help you, but you should probably not be such an idiot about it. PK, inching so close I put my hands up to push her back out of the 4 remaining inches of personal space. I will act however I want, and you better believe I'm going to get your lying ass fired. I want to speak to your supervisor. Such unprofessional behavior and talking back to a patient's family. Your bedside manner is atrocious. Me, pointing to the growing crowd. The head nurse is that way, and for the last time I'm ducking work here. I'm a damn patient, just like Poor Bastard, and being a dick to people, especially nurses, is a good way to get thrown out on your ass by security. So you might want to tone it down. By this time, a couple nurses come over. All of them have clear name badges and credentials on display, as well as these little communication devices that are like Star Trek communicators, but look and perform a lot less cool. The head nurse, who was so sweet just like all the ones I had during my stay, had taken on the scary resting idiot face that would make me think twice didn't even scare crazy pucker face. She barges right up to the nurse and demands to be taken to her son, spouting off his name and date of birth to basically everyone on the floor, and then demands that I be fired, PK. Oh, and fire that idiot. She's completely incompetent and rude. Head nurse, HN, deadpans with a chill game I'm rather envious of. She doesn't work here, and I'm going to have to ask you to refrain from yelling and harassing people. This is a hospital and people are trying to heal and rest. PK, I understand, but this woman isn't letting me see my son, and he needs his mommy right now. She needs to be dealt with for being such a terrible, irresponsible nurse. Me? But I'm not a nurse? HN. Again, Calypso is not employed by a large Texas hospital in a major metropolitan area. After going back and forth for several minutes, Puckerface can't seem to wrap her brain around the fact that I don't actually work at the hospital. She's basically a broken record, calling for me to get fired like she's forgotten why she's here in the first place. Head nurse is calm and has explained it as many different ways as she possibly can and is starting to rub her temples with must be a nasty headache. Finally, after a couple seconds of quiet, she turns to me. HN, hey Calypso, you're fired, okay. Me, okay. HN, holding an elevator for me. Go on now, get on your way. I get on the elevator and head downstairs, incredibly grateful to be away from that monstrous woman, and go to collect my well-deserved prize and text my wife about the whole thing. She'll find it hilarious. But the story doesn't end there, as it turns out when they look up information for her son, who turns out to be 2 rooms down from Min. He specifically said his mother is on the list of people who absolutely under no circumstances could be allowed to visit. So I watched her get dragged kicking, screaming, and biting through the hospital's main lobby when I was returning from the cafeteria. The chocolate milk and cookies were twice as tasty after that. Poor Bastard turned up that evening to apologize for his mother since news of the crazy lady spread across the floor like wildfire. He and his family were really cool. Looks like we're going to be physical therapy buddies now, and we can swap that crap crazy mom stories together. Also, shout out to all the nurses out there. You are all the real MVP for all the care you do, and for putting up with people's crazy antics. Thanks. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and post some bear emojis in the comments.